A meeting of the Federal Reserve's Committee was held in the offices of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday, October 22, 2019 at 8:30 a.m. Present within the committee includes Max Darsanto, Riley Andrews, Wesley Callahan, Liam Oldfield and Philip Stringer. The information formatted from the previous meeting indicates that future discussion is required in regard to the current issues with the monetary policy as of 2019. As you are all aware, the conditions of any changes to the monetary policy are based off the three main goals set by the head of Congress, which includes the maximisation of employment, the stabilisation of price levels and the moderating of long-term interest rates. The following discussion will set to enact change and progression towards the formal revitalisation of the current federal funds, and to also include recommendations for future changes in regards to the monetary policy.
The post-GFC recovery appears to still be in order. Whilst growth appears to be stable, however, there are concerns amongst OECD members about the longevity of this continued economic growth. The lower GDP in the second quarter compared with the first, down from 3.1 to 2%, is something that should not be ignored. If growth continues to slow, it may be a sign of a vertex to come in the US economy. The increase in personal income by 0.4% in August and the increase in personal consumption in 2018 up by 5.1% are steady indications of increased spending. Unemployment is now 3.5%, down from 3.7% in August. The US continues to attract FDI as it rose to 8.7% in 2018. The strong FDI numbers could be explained by global instability.
The main foreign economic conditions facing US are global trade, EU uncertainty due to Brexit and the China slowdown. US global trade export-import have strong international indicators in trade growth by viewing the EU, Canada and Mexico. Exporting to all trade partners is worth $828 billion, while importing is worth $555 billion, creating a trade surplus. Brexit laws will affect both trade and currency rates. EU losing UK may mean losing its 28 trade partners, which means US import-export will be affected by trade tariffs. EU tech investment strong countries such as Germany may trade more with USA, improving high future investment in goods and raising employment. EU reducing currency growth from 1.3% to 1.2%. US can buy up the currency. US dollar increase, higher costs for foreign investors will slow down future investments. China is responsible for 47.2% of US trade deficit. China having extreme shifts in debt and growth in population skews their GDP. China's downturn benefits USA. New foreign policies for China to buy $50 billion per year of agricultural goods. Inflation of China will decrease global economy's inflation rates. IMF has cut China's growth forecast to 6.2% due to new policies.
The current economic conditions show little sign of movement in regards to aggregate demand. On the domestic front, we can see an increase in personal consumption, tying in with the steadily growing household income and unemployment reaching its 50-year low. Although this should paint a picture of a strengthening economy, its effects have largely been negated due to continuously falling net exports and growing current account deficit. This is largely a result of high levels of government spending and the ongoing trade war with China. As we can see, despite the economy experiencing steady levels of growth over the last decade, the mounting levels of debt cancel any significant changes to aggregate demand, and thus we predict a minor rightward shift in the AD curve.
In relation to the aggregate supply side, current domestic and foreign conditions have particularly impacted economic indicators of unemployment, investment and the output cap. This is due to the US protectionist approach towards production as seen in the current trade war with China. Specifically, this approach is to combat US manufacturing activity slowing to a 10-year low in September, which by encouraging domestic production is estimated to produce a positive output gap of 0.101% in 2020. This has been translated into unemployment rates falling to a 50-year low of 3.5%. However, wage growth has been stagnant, with hourly earnings in the wage market remaining unchanged in September, and annual rate increases falling to 2.9%. Hence, the aggregate supply side of the economy will remain unchanged due to counteractive measures, however, should shift to the right leading into the future based off of data predictions.
On the global front, political instability is a concern. However, domestically, the United States is experiencing steady growth and the post-GFC recovery is still in order. This is creating an important balance between the instability and fears of the challenges to come and the need for avoidance of overstimulating the economy. With this in mind, it is too early to implement expansionary or contractionary monetary policy. The recommendation from the committee is to uphold the current target range for the federal funds rate of 2.25% to 2.5%. The committee will remain focused on ensuring any changes in the prospect of the future receives full attention and policy be introduced where necessary. If the unemployment continues to fall below the non-accelerating inflation rate of unemployment, contractionary monetary policy intervention may be required.